مستحيل مستحيل مستحيل. تقريبا من العاصمة اليرفان إلى هاي القرية الآشورية تقريبا ساعة. وهسه وصلت إنه متواصل أنا ويا مدير المدرسة. هو مو مدير المدرسة، هو القديس مال المنطقة كلها، يسموه تيش ماين نكدم، يعني من هو القديس نكدم. فهو منتظرني هنا أنا بالموعد، قال الساعة، قلت له الساعة بال11:30 أجي، خلاص وصلت بالوقت المحدد. وهذا العلم الآشوري لك. هلا 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 هلا. يعني أنا كلش حماس اليوم، راح نسأله هواي أسئلة ونحاول نتعرف على الاشوريين اللي هنا بارمينيا. هل يا ترى انه الاشوريين يعتبر انه الجماعه الاشور كلهم اشوريين، الكلديانيين، السريانيين؟ فهسه راح نتعرف عليهم ونحاول نسالهم بعض الاسئله. هل يا ترى هم نفس الاشوريين اللي عندنا؟ وشنو الاختلاف بين الاشوريين اللي عندنا والاشوريين اللي بارمينيا؟ التقيت هسه بالتاج نكدم، هو كان منتظرني هنا. I'm just documenting everything. I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing here. كيف انا عليك؟
You can take some videos. And when you finish, I will be downstairs, so we can go to church.
هسه احنا رايحين هنا للمدرسة الآشورية، وهنا ويانا الأستاذة تدرس آشوري، إنه اللغة مالتهم، فهي راح ندخل وياها بالصف ونحاول إنه نوثق كل شيء. هسه حاليا انه اني داخل وياهم بالصف، وانطوني حتى الكتاب مالتهم بدنا نشوفه. يعني قاعد انه قاعد ما دا اتعلم اشوري او اتعلم مثلا سورة اللغة هاي. صراحة كلش حلوة وكلش قريبة من العربي، وبيها هواية كلمات مشتركة وجمل مشتركة. يعني انا قاعد هم ما يعرفون انجليزي وانا ما اعرف سورة او اشوري، بس مع ذلك انه دا افهم هواية كلمات. يعني تقول له مثلا اقري يعني اقرأ، أو تقول له مثلا الورا، كم تقول الورا يعني اللي بعده. فشغلات كلش صراحة مقاربة. هذول هم شعب ما بين النهرين أو وادي الرافدين. يا اف
بقالة اف في وقالة ثا بقالة بدمايلة ان
This is F.
بدمايلة البقرة اف. شكله مخيموني له يعني أي ضيوفه
غين أنا ربي ثلاثة ف قصة الحصة هسه ويا الدرس الآشوري وهاي اللغة المهمة يعني، وكانت كلش حلوة صراحة، استمتعت. هسه أبونا نكدم رايحين إن حاليا إلى الكنيسة، ياخذنا الكنيسة وراح نسأله بعض الأسئلة. هو يعرف إنجليزي بس أكيد إحنا راح نحكي ونحاول قدر الإمكان إنه نترجم. فخلنا نشوف.
But for me, it's very easy to learn Arabic language.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't have time to do it. But I can understand a lot.
That's so interesting. طبعا شعور ولا أروع. أنا بالنسبة لي أحب هالسوالف. ليش؟ لأن أكو فد شيء مشترك بين العراق وبين أرمينيا. وطبعا إنه أبونا نكدم هسه حاليا إنه وصلني لهذا المكان، البيت مالته، قاعد هو هنا عايش. راح بس إنه يبدل ويطلع، فعمود نروح للكنيسة نكتشف الكنيسة ونشوف شنو بيها. شنو هاي؟ الله عمي كلش حلو يعني صراحة. عايشين هنا قرية هادئة، هدوء، جمال، كل شيء. احنا رايحين للكنيسة يعني متأكد.
As I told you, it's village Verindvin. Dvin was the capital of Armenia. It was capital from 5th to 9th centuries. And this place we are standing in is the first street of village Verindvin. And our Assyrians came here in 828, nearly 200 years ago. They came from Iran. from Urmia. They departed from there after Russia-Persian War. There was a war between Russians and Persians in 1826 to 1828. So a part of Assyrian Christians moved to a territory of Russian Empire because Armenia at that time was a part of Russian Empire. So they came and inhabited this place, and they called this village Verindvin. So it's translated like Upper Dvin. Upper Dvin.
Up?
And they remain, upper.
Upper.
And, our Assyrians, when came to Armenia from Iran, in 1828, they built this church.
Historic Catholic Assyrian Church of East in Armenia. So why the Assyrians left Iran at first place?
When there was war between Russians and Persians, because of our Assyrians were Christians, and they thought that it would be better for them to move to a Christian country. We Assyrians have a lot of dialects, like Assyrians from Turkey, originally that were from Turkey, they have more than 20 dialects. And from Iraq, from Urmia, from Syria, from other places, we have a lot of dialects, and all of them are very different from each other.
Why the Assyrians didn't leave Iraq at the time, like during the genocide? You know, why? Like they just stayed there. Was it safe at the time?
You know, during genocide, we have a big community in Turkey, in modern Turkey, in mountains of Hakkari, like Van and Erzurum and Diyarbakir. We have a very big community. But during genocide, not only Armenians were victims of genocide, but also Assyrians were also victims of genocide. And scientists say that approximately 500,000 Assyrians were killed during 1914 till 1923.
So it's true, like what I have read, it's around 500,000 to 700,000 Assyrians have been killed.
That time, a lot of Assyrians moved to modern Iraq territory. We had, I don't know if you heard about Habaniya. It was like a camp where Assyrians from Turkey moved there and stayed there. And actually we had community in Iraq, in northern Iraq mostly, like in Barvar, and Sapna, and Nala. We have in Al-Qush, in Nineveh Plains, in Nineveh Plains. We have, and till now, we also have a big community there. But from Iraq, we didn't have departers. Only in 1933, there was a genocide in Samele. Yeah, you have heard about it. And 7th of August is celebrated as a Day of Assyrian Martyrs because of the genocide that was made in Samele. But unfortunately, this last 20 years, a lot of Assyrians moved from Iraq, and they went to USA, to Europe, to Australia. But even we have little Assyrians living in Iraq. We believe that it is our homeland. Mesopotamia is our homeland, and in heart of every Assyrians living all around the world, they consider Iraq as a homeland in their hearts. When we visit Iraq, we feel that we are touching to our history. We go to our motherland. So it's very Iraq has a very special place in our hearts.
Do all Assyrians know, like they do have like huge knowledge about history?
Sure. Even us. Assyrians of Armenia, unfortunately, were cut off from Assyrian community of other countries for 70 years during Soviet times regime. We, in Armenia, in Georgia, in Russia, in Ukraine, in Kazakhstan, we were living here for 70 years during Soviet times, during communist regime, and we didn't have any connection with Assyrians from Iran, Iraq, or Turkey or Syria. But still, they were believing, and we also believe that we are sons of Ashurbanipal.
Oh,
and
so
our capital city is Nineveh. We have a lot of songs dedicated to Nineveh. Nineveh is Mosul, modern Mosul, and we read in history books about Assyrian Empire, and sure, it is our history, it is our identity, and we believe in it.
Quick question, do you celebrate Akito here as well?
Sure, sure. We celebrate Akito every year on 1st of April.
Yeah.
And even we have names of Assyrian names. People put Assyrian names to their children, like Ashur, Sargon, Ashurbanipal, Tiglat, and Nineveh, Ishtar, Enlil, I don't know, Ninorta, Ninebra. Assyrians of Armenia have Nimrud, we have such names.
You're still naming your children here, like, with this?
My son's name is Akkad. Here in Armenia we have a monument dedicated to Assyrian victims. This monument is in Yerevan, you can visit, and it is dedicated to victims from 1915 to 1933. And every year on 7th of August, that is Assyrian Martyrs' Day, that is celebrated all over the world in all Assyrian communities, even in Iraq and in Samel, we have a church of victims there. And we also go to that monument and we pray for souls of our victims, and we educate our children that it's a very important day for us, for keeping our identity alive. Because if we forget our past, our history, we shall not have future. Actually, when we go back to history, we had a lot of communities, Christian Assyrian communities in southern part of Iraq, of modern Iraq. Even in Qatar, we had communities.
Qatar?
Yes, yes. If we go back to our books, to our historical books, we see that there were metropolitan and the bishopric seats in Qatar, Bet Qatra'i, in modern Yemen, in Saudi
which
Arabia.
year is that? In which era?
It's the medieval centuries.
The medieval century?
Yeah. Patriarchal residence of Assyrian Church of the East was in, maybe Salq Tisfon, Selevke Ktesifon. It's Kuche. It's around 50 kilometers far from Baghdad.
يعطاك كسرة تشوفون
Ktesifon, yeah.
And the history, to find out, the existence of Assyrians in Mesopotamia.
So we cannot say that only after genocide Assyrians moved to Baghdad, because before that, for many thousand years ago, they were there as Christian community in Baghdad, in Salq Tisfon, in Tikrit even.
Tikrit, yes.
Yeah.
So do you mean, for Assyrians, they were existing, they used to, all of them in Iraq right now?
After Mongols came to Iraq, and they slaughtered a lot of Assyrians, so they had to run to mountains, to go to Hakkari. So before Hakkari, people of Hakkari came from southern Iraq. Assyrian community of Armenia is connected to modern Iraq because the priest before me that came to Armenia in 2003 was from Iraq. Now he's bishop of Baghdad, of Assyrian Church of the East. His Grace Mar Elia.
So he's an Iraqi?
Now he is in Iraq, but he served as a priest before being bishop. He was serving as a priest here in Armenia. Because from 1828 we can say that until 2003 we didn't have Assyrian priest in Armenia. He was the first priest that came from Iraq. He is originally from Erbil, Abuna Ishaq Tamraz. He came to Armenia and he was serving here for 12 years. After serving 12 years, he educated me, and later I went to Iraq, to The Hague. I studied in our seminary and I became priest. So I am the first priest, Assyrian priest born in Armenia, but I am student. I'm a student of Abuna Ishaq, he is Mar Elia Ishaq. He is bishop of Assyrian Church of the East in Baghdad. We have, unfortunately, we have now a very small community living in Baghdad, but we have churches there. We have very developed community there, and the bishop of Baghdad was serving here in Armenia as a priest.
Oh, that's nice. So thank you so much. You educated me today. I'm so happy for giving me this opportunity to get to know the Assyrian community in Armenia, and not only in Armenia, in the world. So thank you so much, Abu